All right. Well, President Biden is set to step down this weekend. Barack Obama's plan to replace Joe Biden is here. It's over. President Biden is stepping down this weekend as expected. We've been reporting that now for about a couple of weeks now. We expected, and we reported last week that sources were pointing to this week that President Biden would step down early in the week. We anticipated. But of course, there was a little assassination attempt that got in the way, and that sort of soured the mood for them to step down. And there was some concern, of course, from Democrats that maybe it would be too soon to do that. Maybe they could jockey some positions to allow him to stay in the race. Now that ship has totally sailed. And Barack Obama, according to the New York Post, is the Barack stabber. This is their headline today. Barack stabber. Obama turns on Biden, pressures president to drop 2024 bid. So again, Saturday looking likely. Sources are saying from the Democratic side that he'll likely step down from the 2024 ticket on Saturday. NBC News, the liberal media is now confirming this from these private meetings, that's what they're hearing. And all of these Democratic aides are taking to television to confirm it, that Biden will step down this weekend. Watch.
We're back with breaking news. NBC News is now learning that Joe Biden and his world, they're bracing, at least Biden world is, for the possibility that President Biden will step aside from the 2024 race. Quote, there is now a palpable sense that the ground has shifted from under him, according to 5 people with knowledge of the situation, even among some of the president's most defiant backers internally, who now believe the writing is on the wall. NBC's Natasha Korecki is one of the reporters who broke this story. She is on the phone. Back with us is David Jolly. Natasha, this is very deeply sourced. I want to read 2 more quotes from this reporting. One is a person close to Joe Biden who says, we are close to the end. And a person who spoke with a senior campaign official said they're finally realizing it's a when, not if. We just spoke to Quentin Folks, who said Joe Biden's mind has not changed. He's not going anywhere. But what is your reporting? Tell us more.
Well, our reporting is very different behind the scenes than what, Folks and others are saying publicly right now. And that is that what is happening around Biden right now is just unsustainable. The calls from allies, the people who have insisted to us and to others that he isn't going anywhere, we're now hearing them say things have changed. It's as you just mentioned, it's not an if, it's when.
It's not an if, it's a when. And then, of course, yesterday we have Go ahead.
I was just going to say, think about it. Like, let's say Joe Biden didn't agree to any of this. What is the best way to do this is just start saying, hey, we're just going to start saying it. We just start saying it, and he's going to have no choice because he's not going to be like, oh, they're running these ads and fracture the party even more. So even if he hasn't agreed, putting this out there, he's pretty much going to have to.
Or not just him, but his people, because he won't understand that people are backstabbing him clearly. So his people are not going to come out there and say, actually, they're all turning on us and we never agreed to anything of the sort. Then it just shows how much the Democratic Party is fractured, which, of course, we know that.
Right. It's kind of like getting up at the Academy Awards and ripping open the envelope, even though it doesn't say what it says. It says you read out in somebody else's name, and the winner goes to Clint Eastwood, even though he's not. And then he stands up and so it doesn't really matter. If you say it, he becomes the winner. And then if they have to put the horse back in the barn later on, it doesn't matter. That horse has already left the stable. Right. And so I think that's a great point, David. They do this all the time in politics, and they're trying to get out in the media to say this. And we're going to get to that part of it in a second, because yesterday COVID hit Joe Biden once again. I think this is the 3rd time now that he's gotten COVID. He's had, I think, 4 vaccines. He's had multiple booster shots. He tweeted out, I'm sick. Okay. And then about an hour later, he tweets, I'm sick of Elon Musk and his rich buddies trying to buy this election. Oh, and liberals were like, well, that was a genius move. Mm-hmm. That was a genius tweet. You held us for an hour. See the time difference there? 20 hours, 19 hours. There was quite a bit of difference in time. I'm sick of Elon and his rich buddies.
The I'm sick one is probably the first time he's ever tweeted himself. That he's just like, I'm sick.
Right.
And they're like, no, we got to add some more. He got a hold of his phone. Crap, how'd he get the login?
By the way, look how many different
Facebook.
Yeah. I was going to say, by the way, look at how many like impressions that one got. It got like 16 million impressions versus the second one, which had like far less. You know, people were like, look at that. 20 million versus, the other. Yeah, they're 169 million versus 20 million.
Right. Like, oh, you're going to tell us something real? Oh, it's just a campaign. Okay.
Oh, it's just, yeah.
I'm not in on this.
So anyway, he gets COVID, right? It's very, very convenient because a day before he told the press that if he got sick or if his doctors said that he, was not fit because of some sort of a condition, that he would consider maybe stepping down. And then within 24 hours, he has COVID. And Miranda, it's all very convenient. And now he's going to take a few days isolating. They're going to cancel campaign events. That's interesting because Miranda Devine, of course, who broke the Hunter Biden laptop story and everyone mocked her. She was 100% correct. She tweeted this: a day before Joe Biden announced he has COVID, the no-fly zone alert for pilots showed he was flying to his beach house in Rehoboth Wednesday night until Sunday night. In other words, this 4-day recuperation was pre-planned. Coincidence? Did he know he had COVID when he flew to Nevada Wednesday and met with people without a mask on and shook hands with people? Kissed people? Okay. Nancy Pelosi held a private meeting, and we now know this, to David's point earlier. So how do we know all these private meetings? It's because the Democrats then went to the press. Pelosi privately told Biden polls show he cannot win and will take down the House of Representatives. Biden responded with defensiveness. Again, the only reason we know this is because Democrats leaked it to the press. It was not Republicans. There was not a Trump aide hanging out on the walls of the White House. This was Democrats leaking this to the press. Nate Silver tweeted this. He's no conservative. He's, more of a liberal pollster than anything. He said, so they basically held an intervention with Biden and it didn't work. So now they're leaking details publicly. Yeah, Jeffrey Katzenberg, who was there, told him in this private meeting that money is drying up. All the donor money is drying up. Chuck Schumer, who was there.
So private.
So private. Now they all share this information with the press. And by the way, we also learned a lot of private details from this meeting, kind of really embarrassing details from this private meeting. So he's sitting there, President Biden is, and all these Democrats are telling him, it's over, buddy. It's over. You need to drop out. He's getting defensive, which he does. Someone hands him a slip of paper, one of his aides, that says, you need to be nicer. You're sounding really defensive. And so he reads it. You know how he just reads things out like in the teleprompter? Pause, repeat. Well, that's what he does. He's like Ron Burgundy. So he literally reads the note out loud that someone handed him, and then he says, be nicer. You sound defensive. I'm sorry.
It's like the scene from Annie where Daddy Warbucks is in the... Did I just read a commercial? Yeah. Drop page. It's my favorite.
Daddy Warbucks. So the Biden camp, of course, is denying that they've been prepping for Kamala Harris, that they put together a transition plan for Kamala Harris. She will become the nominee, of course, with President Obama delivering a rousing speech at the DNC. This is my informed speculation that President Obama will deliver a rousing speech at the DNC, and he will be the one to really make the case for Kamala Harris, trying to reignite some fire within the Democrats. And I think it's very telling, actually, yesterday, Rachel Maddow on the air yesterday on MSNBC, because the rest of the network, MSNBC, were all reporting the same thing, that Biden is being forced out. He's going to be done. He's going to likely be done by this weekend. Then Rachel Maddow, who's been a huge fan of President Biden, she gets on the air and reads out that a 31-point drop has occurred among black women voters in America for President Biden. That President Biden has lost 31% from black women voters. So how do you remedy that? Dun, da, da, da. Kamala Harris, right? Okay. So it's a very convenient poll to be reading out on the same day.
That's what they think, that black women are that able to be manipulated suddenly, because of somebody who might look like them. That's what they think of black voters.
Right. Yeah. They think that they're that manipulated. They
want to help.
Yeah. Well, for decades, they've been manipulated.
Ceiling.
Black voters have been manipulated for decades. by Democrats and lied to. And you've seen over this election cycle, many black voters coming out, making social media videos and interviews have said, we've been lied to for 40 years. We thought that they had our best interests at heart. We've been lied to.
Yes.
And we're done. So can Kamala Harris save them?
As long as black voters might want to turn the other direction, because when illegal immigration is a thing and a problem to this extent, black voters and black people lose their jobs, black incarceration goes up. Have they noticed that, or are they still just going to say, I mean, they really think that they're that dumb that like that person looks like me, that person's a woman,
and she might not even
vote that way,
and
right?
she's not even, I mean, she's not right. I mean, she's Indian and Puerto Rican, right?
No,
so
she's Bahamian, I believe. She's Caribbean and half Indian.
Yeah.
Yes. But they really, according to them, representation matters for everything.
Right. It doesn't matter. It's identity politics all the way.
Yes.
Like, it doesn't matter that we'll screw you over, that the price of putting food on the table is tripled now in your family. Hey, I'm a person of color, so you should just vote for me. Mm-hmm. I'll screw you over later, but hey, just vote for me.
Right.
Like, that's how this goes.
Yeah.
So we'll see, but looks like the walls are closing in on President Biden. Let us know in the comments below, do you think that Biden will drop out by Friday, maybe Saturday? My money is on Saturday. I thought it would have happened earlier in the week, but of course you had the assassination attempt, which changed their plans. But donors are not happy and they want him out.
But you know what, though? Because last weekend, if you had asked me, what did I do? I doom scrolled the whole weekend because of the Trump assassination attempt. And so if that's what's going to happen over the weekend, then I better clear the decks, because if Biden actually resigns, that's what I'm going to do, is doom scroll all weekend again. And,
yeah.
I'm very busy.
I should be very clear. When I say resign or steps down, I mean from the campaign. Like, there's no indications that he's going to step down as the president of the United States. And there's rumblings that maybe he would do that. He would resign the presidency to Kamala Harris to allow her to become president ahead of the DNC. And then she'd have a few months of actually being president. But I don't know that that's going to happen. I don't have any indication that that's going to happen. So
if that happens, I'll do more than doom scroll. I'm going to walk into the ocean.
If he actually resigns the presidency.
And she becomes president.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
By the way, video has just emerged. We won't show it to you here on the show because we'll probably get dinged for it. But video has now emerged of a close-up of President Trump's ear being ripped open by something, likely the bullet that hit him and ripped through his ear. So that has now, so Joy Reid.
Is that what you got there? That's gross.
I'm showing it here. But so Joy Reid, if you think that's still a piece of glass randomly hitting him, you might want to reconsider your position on that, or maybe a Tostitos chip hitting him. Your Joy Reid at MSNBC, your conspiracy theory might just got thrown out the window.
Okay.